application and be successful through that process. We want you to know that this pilot program has been advanced by the Broward County Commission. Commissioner Hazel Rogers was the commissioner that requested this program, and it has been approved by our county commission. So we're very grateful to the county commission for approving the funding. We had funding a year and a half ago, back in 2023 and 2024. And additional funding was approved for this year. So we continue now the pilot program. Now we're going to be assigning even more grants to our small businesses, so you're going to get all the details related to that. The program, basically the main goal of our program is to help support our Broward County small businesses, the smallest of the small. We know that our small businesses are still recovering after the pandemic, and that you need assistance to continue to grow your business. And for that reason, the County Commission has supported this micro grant program. We want to assist you with operational capital. So you're gonna hear in a little bit the details of the eligible expenses that can be used for the $2,500 that we're gonna pay you back. 13 grants are gonna be awarded per commission district. Here you see the map of the 9 commission districts we have in Broward County, and we are going to award 13 microgrants to each one of those commission districts. We want to make sure that businesses across Broward County are receiving the funding. That's really important for us. It is first come, first serve, so you're going to know when the program starts, where you're going to get the date today, when the portal is going to open. So we want to make sure you have over a month to get ready. We want to make sure that you start compiling the receipts and the documents that you need now. And that if you have any questions, you can contact our office now. We'll be glad to help answer any questions you may have. Get ready now, because we want to make sure that you're successful after you submit those documents. The grant is $2,500. And basically, we're going to be reimbursed. It's a reimbursement grant. So we're going to be refunding you for your operational expenses totaling $2,500 in the last 120 days. So start thinking about what are those receipts that you have, and make sure that those are on the eligible expenses list. That's really important. Something else we have that we're going to share with you today is the prohibited expenses. So there's expenses that are not eligible. Make sure you look at that list as well. And all that information is on our website. We want you to make sure that you submit receipts for more than $2,500, just in case there are some of the receipts that are not eligible. So we encourage you to start thinking about expenses, again, that are $2,800. That way we make sure that, that we are able to give you the $2,500 grant. We are not able to award grants that are less than $2,500, so that's why it's so important that we work with you to ensure that you submit those receipts for the grants that are, let's see what else we have here. So lessons learned. We just went through this process last year. And unfortunately, we were not able to give away all the money that we had. One of the main reasons was because we didn't receive enough receipts totaling the $2,500. That was one of the main reasons. Other reasons were because the receipts we received were for expenses that were not eligible. So that's why it's so important. Now you get the opportunity to learn from other businesses that applied last year. Also, if you already applied and you got denied last year, you can reapply this year. The people that received the grant last year cannot apply for additional funding because they already received the funding. But if you were denied last year, we want to encourage you to submit your grant application again this year. That's really important. But again, we want you to know that we're here to help you. We want to make sure you understand the requirements. We want to make sure that if you have any questions, you let us know in advance. You can call our office. You're going to have our contact information. The website has been updated with all the information related to the microgrant program, the requirements, the documents you have to submit. Today, you're going to see examples of the documents you need to submit. That's going to be really helpful to help you provide some guidance on what exactly you need to provide to us. We want to give this money away. We want to make sure you get the money that you need to operate your business. So please feel free to contact our office and schedule a one-on-one or a phone call to discuss any questions you may have before the portal opens. Something else is this information is going to be on our website. We're going to share a lot of information with you today, but we want you to know that everything is on the website. This meeting is being recorded. The webinar is being recorded, so we're going to be posting that on our YouTube channel, so you can always go back and refer to the training session as well if you have additional questions. Now I'm going to introduce our Economic Development Manager, Mark Cassidy. He's going to go over the eligibility requirements, the documents you need to submit. He's going to show you examples. He was one of the staff persons that review applications last year. So he'll be able to share with you, again, lessons learned and what is it that you need to look for to make sure you submit an application that's going to be approved by our office, okay? At the end of the webinar, you're going to have an opportunity to ask us any questions you may have. So again, thank you for being here, and I'm going to leave you with Mark.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for stopping by and joining us. So I'm going to go over the details today. Go over the eligibility requirements and details on that, walk you through the application process, give you a little demonstration of what the application portal will look like, go over the eligible and the prohibited expenses, the documents that you'll need to submit in your application, and then give you a detail of all the numerous documents that you need to submit to get each one of those expenses qualified for each different type of expense. Last, I'll just give some details on the payment process and what to expect for timelines, and then just go over some of our frequently asked questions. So as far as the eligibility requirements, of course, you must be a Broward County business. You need to be in operation before October 1st, 2023, and your SunBiz will need to reflect that. Your business will need to be eligible to conduct business with the county, which basically means you're not a debarred business. If you were one, you would know, and our purchasing division also has a list of those businesses just for you to confirm. Your business will need to employ 20 employees or less. You'll need to have a gross revenue annually of $1 million or less. And as a reminder, it'll be first come, first served within your commission district. Also, the applicant needs to either be a majority owner or you'll need to apply with multiple owners that represent over 50% of your company. You need to be a for-profit business, so nonprofits are not eligible, and you cannot be part of a national chain. Last is that it'll be based on the business of your, or the address of your business. So not your home business, but the address that your business is located. If you're a home-based business, then of course that'll be based on your home address, and you'll submit your corresponding IRS form for home-based businesses. That's called the 8829, and I'll give some details on that later in the presentation. Last is every business will submit only one application. The system won't even allow you to submit another application. It'll just let you know you already submitted one. And then, as Maribel mentioned, that you did not receive the grant last year. So as far as process, first, as Maribel mentioned, spend this time now in the next month gathering all of your required documents, making sure that you have everything that you need. Make sure that you have your Access Broward account created and accessible, because that is what you'll use to sign into the portal. So I'll give a walkthrough today on how to get your Access Broward account up and running if you don't already have it. And then last, I'll go through the application. The link to the application is on the microgrant website. And then you'll submit it through the portal. There'll be a portal where you can check on your status. And then one important note is that the application, we highly recommend that you use desktop computer. Don't use mobile, don't use the Surface, iPad, something like that, because the interface, it won't work as reliably as we'd hope for. So I'll get into what it'll look like when you get into that application portal. So before you get there, I'll remind you about the Access Broward. So go ahead and if you don't already have your Access Broward account, you can scan this QR code there, which will help you to get registered for that account. And I see the phone, so very good, very good. I'll give everyone an opportunity to get that snapped, and then we'll move forward in a second. But when you get in there, you know, when you open the application link, the image on the right, that email login, that's what you're going to see. That's where you're going to type in your Access Broward information and just sign in. Give one more second. Very good. All right. So if you don't already have yours created, this is the walkthrough for how you'll create that Access Broward account. You follow that QR code, you put in your information, how you usually, you know, register for an account. And then when you're done, you click Create My Account on the left, it'll bring you to that image on the right, just so that you know following along exactly that you're following the correct process. So now that you have your Access Broward account, you're good to go. On May 12th this year, when the application portal opens, you'll go to that link on there. That's the website on the right, and then it'll bring you right to the application. So when you sign in here through your Access Broward account, and then it'll bring you right to the page. So this is your application portal. You just click right there. You see on the right, Apply Now. You go right there, and a reminder, just the one application per business. And so if you already have it in, this is the point where it'll let you know you already have your application in, and here it'll show you your status as well. So once you click Apply Now and you start getting into it, this is the first page that you'll see. Section 1 is the business type, where you'll either select for-profit or not-for-profit. Of course, if it's not-for-profit, you're not eligible. The system will give you a pop-up and let you know. This is what that'll look like. So it'll pop and say, hold on, you know, this is for-profit companies only, so are you sure? And if you're not profit, go ahead and submit. If not, you can click that Close and Start Over button. Next, once you get for-profit, you'll put in your taxpayer identification number, which is either going to be your EIN or your social. And then after that, you'll enter your Broward County local business tax receipt number. And where do I find that? So you'll find your Broward County local business tax receipt form that you have, and boxed in red there is where that receipt number is. So that's the number that you're going to type into the application there. So the system is going to search the number that you put in there. It's going to confirm that you're in our system, and if you're not, or if it's already been used, you'll get this warning label, and it'll have you contact our office, and we'll sort out, you know, the documentation needed to get through there. Otherwise, you'll move forward. And so the next section is the business information. All the gray boxes that you see on the right are auto-filled from your Broward County profile, and then you'll basically fill in all those white boxes if needed. And then at the bottom is the business industry. Just select the most applicable business industry related to your business. At that point, it'll bring you right to the qualifying questions. So make sure you answer all of these questions accurately, because of course we're going to confirm all of this on the back end when we review the applications. But as you click through, basically, there's I think 10 questions. So it'll ask, is the business registered with active status with the state of Florida, which is SunBiz? Are you up to date on your tax payments through 2023? Does the business have the annual gross revenue of $1 million or less, 20 or less employees? Does the owner requesting the grant own 50% or more? Has the business been in operation 2 years or longer? And is the business currently eligible? So once we click through all of these and get through, it'll let you know either if you selected no for any of these, it'll say you're not eligible. It'll close your application and submit it there. If you answer all the questions eligibly, it'll bring you to the next section, which is your business structure. So this is where you're going to select if you're a C corporation or a sole proprietorship, partnership, so on and so forth. And then you'll click that complete your ownership box to then bring you to this page, which is where you put in the owner name and information like that. So I want to let you know that this is for information purposes only. You know, we don't look at any personal information for determining if you're eligible. It's only the eligibility requirements that we let you know about earlier today. So, of course, also, if you don't have to answer these questions, you can select prefer not to answer, but you do need to add at least 50% of your owner's information in this section. Once you have all of your owners in there, or all the information for that one owner, you click Save, and then it'll show you that owner. If you need to revise it, you can click the red trash can, it'll delete, you can resubmit it. But then once you're good to go, it'll allow you to move forward. And then you'll start entering required documents. So I'll go through the list of the documents that you need, because you'll need to start gathering these all in the next month. So you'll need a W-9, which you'll get from the IRS, download and submit that. You'll need your most recent, excuse me, Broward County business license tax receipt for 2024, 2025, and the same for the city. So very important that you need both. We heard a lot of businesses saying, I had my Broward or I had my city, I didn't know I needed to have both. You do need to have both. Also, you need to have your SunBiz, either, excuse me, your most recent copy of your SunBiz showing that you're active status. And then submit your most recent federal business tax return, which will need to either be 23 or 2024. The whole list, of course, as mentioned there, is on the website. The other required documents are the business employment documentation. So your tax return that shows how many employees you have, or if you're a sole proprietor with no employees, we have a form that you'll sign and submit in lieu of that. Excuse me. You'll submit your ID. You'll download from the website the agreement, which has the signature box and an exhibit. You need to sign both of those, save as a PDF, and then submit that as one of your documents. And then last is all of your expenses, which will be multiple pieces of information. So moving forward in the application portal, when it's time to upload those required documents, you'll see the page on the right. It'll give you the list of all the documents that you need to upload. It also has the note that you see in the box, the dark bold box with the document format and size. Definitely make note of that, because the system will only accept those document types: PDF, .doc, like a Word document, docx, JPEG images, so on and so forth, PNG. The system will let you know if the document is not being accepted. It's a technical issue, basically, with like the cache and the file information. Just save a duplicate version of that file and re-upload. And so what you'll do when you're at the upload page is you see the drop-down under Support Documents. You click that Select, and you'll select the type of document that you're uploading. So if I'm putting in my W-9, my agreement, and so on, you hit that, Upload, and so yes. So let me go through each one of these documents and what you need to make sure is filled in on those in order for us to accept them. So the W-9, you can get that from IRS website if you don't already have one available. We'll confirm the taxpayer ID, and accounting also needs this in order to pay you. And so the information on there, business name, address, all that all needs to match with your business information. Next is the county tax receipt. This needs to be the most recent. We see the date that it's valid at the top, and it has the receipt number, business name, so on and so forth. And this will need to be in by May 12th in order for you to be in our system. And so we'll know basically if you have one of these valid on our system. For the city local tax receipt, this is an example of one for the town of Davie. Every municipality looks different, but each municipality does provide them. So it'll need to be 2024, 2025, and your city can provide it for you if you don't already have that. And so with that, if anybody does not have that right now, definitely recommend reach out to your city and make sure that you do have a copy of that. Next is the SunBiz active status with the state of Florida. I'm sure we are all familiar with this SunBiz page. Just print or save a PDF file of this page, and that'll be what you'll upload for this version. Make sure that it's got, of course, your business name on it, it's correct, and that it says that it's active status. That's how we'll be able to accept it as eligible. So for tax returns, We'll only need the first page of the tax returns. We don't need your complete tax return. We just need to confirm that it was submitted and that the numbers on there match what you put in your application. If you don't have your 2024 yet, you can submit your 2023, and you can download it from the IRS website if you don't still have one of those copies of it. And same, the EIN number and all the information will need to match your business. And the types of tax returns that we accept are for sole proprietorship, Form 1040, and for partnerships, Form 1065. And then for each one of those partners, submit the Schedule K1 form. And then last, for corporations, you'll submit your Form 1120. So just some examples of each one of these. This is the 1040 for sole proprietorship. On the right, you'll need to, it'll be complete, and we'll verify all the information on the form. Here are examples of your partnership 1065 and the corresponding Schedule K1. As Maribel mentioned, this will be all online, so if you want to glance at this at a longer, you can go back to it later. And here's your corporation, Form 1120. As I mentioned, if you're a sole proprietor, you'll download a form that says, I don't have any employees, I'm a sole proprietor, and you'll upload that. If you have employees, you'll submit your employer documentation, which is going to be either your federal quarterly tax return, which is the Form 941, or your FL Form RT6. So here's an example of the federal employment form, and right there on line 1, it shows right there a number of employees. That's what we're going to be looking at to confirm. Same here, if you want to submit instead the Florida revenue form, that form also indicates the number of employees for your business, and so make sure that that's completed when you upload your form. And there on the right is the example of that sole proprietor form that I mentioned. That's available on the website. You'll just download that, same as the agreement, sign it, submit that as a PDF. Last is ID. The acceptable types are basic Florida identification, U.S. passport, Broward Community ID, military ID, or standard driver's license. Some image examples of this, the general ID card, passport, Broward Community ID, military ID, or driver's license, right? So you only need to submit one of those. You don't need to submit multiple. Here is the agreement that I mentioned, and another reminder, submit 2 pages, the regular signature box, and complete that Exhibit A form, which is the foreign country of concern attestation. That basically says, we're not working with any foreign business that's on the list of businesses that we don't do business with. So some of the details about the documents that you'll need to submit. One is that the eligible expenses need to be 120 days or less before you apply. And please, highly recommend submit over $2,500 in expenses. If you submit $5,000, if you submit $10,000, that is okay, right? The idea is you want to submit as many expenses as you can to confirm that they're going to be eligible. But of course, within the 120-day window, because we know for a fact that if it's outside of that, it's not going to be eligible. Legibility. Definitely need to make sure that the documents are legible, because you can't confirm it all if it's not legible. The proof of payment, and this is important, is that it must state your company name. I'll get into some details about that, but you need to make sure that all of this information that I'm about to go through for the expenses is included, or it won't be able to be an eligible expense. One recommendation that we have is if you want to type out some type of table or explanation or something like that that says this expense is for this and this is what it was used for and all that, that may be helpful in knowing what your proof of payment items are for each one of the documents. So, eligible types of expenses. Purchases of inventory and supplies, excluding those items. Business equipment in general. Payment of your rent or your mortgage of your commercial space. So if you're a home-based business, you will need to submit your IRS Form 8829. The percentage in that form that says how much of your home is your business, that's how much of your rent will be able to make eligible. It'll be eligible for publicity, marketing, advertising, things like that, for security systems, commercial liability insurance, but to note, not for the entire year, for the period that it's available, the 120-day period. Professional services, so like accounting or legal services or something like that, but you need to make sure that your invoice, that all of your, payment, it tracks, that it says payment of this service to this business from this business and, within the window, and then the proof of payment also being able to be supported. And so expenses paid with a credit card, that's fine if the credit card is under the business name. So it's going to need to be XYZ Associates Incorporated or something like that. It won't need to be, your personal name happens to be on the card. If both are there, as long as the business name is there, that'll be eligible. Some of the prohibited expenses, purchase of alcohol or tobacco, purchase or lease of a work vehicle, rental deposits, late payments, debts, payroll, any prepaid expenses, so any expenses outside of that 120-day window, taxes, interior, exterior renovations, all home improvements, fees that are owed to the county, utility bills, art, travel, home insurance, car insurance for personal vehicle, and anything else not listed in the eligible expenses. Right, so if not explicitly listed in the eligible expenses, it won't be able to be eligible. Okay, so required documents for all of these expenses. Right, so again, 120 days or closer to the application. Here's an example that I could give for if you're going to purchase inventory and supplies. Right, so you'll need to submit your payment receipt. The payment receipt would need to say the business name, description of the goods or services, and then saying that it's paid by X date from your company, right? So this could include an invoice that says goods and services to be delivered or produced by this day. You may need it might not say paid, right? But you paid it afterward. That's when you'll submit a bank statement that matches the name that's on that business. If you're purchasing business equipment from perhaps somewhere, say like Home Depot, a store, or something like that, you may just get a receipt, like a standard receipt. In that instance, you'd want to submit a credit card or an image of the card or your statement that shows the business name, the number of the card, and then that receipt or invoice that says paid on this day, and that the numbers or the name tied to each other. For rent, or for rent of your commercial space or for your mortgage. So you'll need to submit, of course, a receipt. For rent, you could request a receipt from your landlord that says rent paid in this location by this business on this date and time. That is accepted. If you have your mortgage statement would also be an acceptable supporting documentation for your rent. You can redact any of the information that you need, so we don't need all of it. We just need that important information that ties the business, the location, so on and so forth. Submitting a lease for your rent would also be considered proper supporting documentation to confirm that that's where your business is operating. That would be secondary on top of proof of the payment. For home-based businesses, as I had mentioned, that 8829. This is a form where if you are a home-based business, you should already have this form. If not, you'll need to get that, but you do need to have a certified 8829 form on file in order to qualify as a home-based business. And so it's going to be only the months of payment, within that 120-day window, and it's going to be, this form says the specific percentage of your home that is your business. Say 10% of the square footage is used for your office. That's the amount of your rent or mortgage payment that we would be able to use for your home-based business. For marketing, advertising, same, you need at least your invoice that says the services, business name, and then a corresponding proof of payment. Same exact for security, commercial liability insurance, and I want to say to everybody here, thank you for coming early. You have the best benefit of being able to ask our office, are these confirmed expenses? Are these eligible? Is my backup documentation good to go? We can go back and forth and make sure that everything you're going to be submitting is going to be acceptable before you go ahead and submit the documents, because that'll be important, because once you submit it, it's in. Same for professional services, but when you have your professional service, it needs to say, what service was provided into this business, not just a general invoice that says X services in general. So, as you're going through and uploading the documents, you'll see this page here. And as you're clicking that drop down and adding each document, you'll click it and then you'll hit choose file, put the file in there, and then hit upload. You'll click upload, and it'll then show, in the background, you see the list of those documents. If you can see, it says W-9, tax receipts, so on and so forth. As you're uploading these documents, it'll just go in there, and then you'll see the complete list so that you know that you're not missing anything. And then once you have enough or all of your documents in, the system will know, and then that orange button on the right, close and proceed to next section, only then will you be able to click that and move forward to the next step. But after that, the hard part is done. And here is the certification, acknowledgments, affirmations, where you'll just attest to all the rules, details of the application, certify that everything that you submitted was truthful and honest. Once you'll click that box, and then it'll bring you right to the last page where you'll just sign and submit. You'll type in your name, confirm that date, do the I'm not a robot CAPTCHA, and then submit it. And then once you hit that submit, it's going to send an email to your Access Broward email account that says we've confirmed your application, and we'll process them in the order that we receive them. So now that your application is in, if you go back to the application portal, this is what you'll see. So instead of apply now, you'll see, oh, okay, there's my application, and it says that it was submitted on this date and time, and there's the status. So right now, there highlighted, it says submitted, and that'll keep going through the process as it goes, from approved to payment in process, so on and so forth. Right, so when you submit it, it'll say submitted, then we'll review them in order that we receive them, and then if it's approved, you'll see in your that portal that it says it's approved, and then at that time, you'll also receive another email that says, hey, congratulations, your application was approved. Once we get to the approved stage, our administration team will then submit a payment request to the accounting team, and at that point, you'll see that it says payment in process, and that's when the accounting team will start working on getting your check written and mailed out to you. And so once they get that check processed and on its way, you'll see that your status will change to payment issued, and at that point, you can expect to receive the check within 4 to 7 days, mailed to the location of your business. I said days, but I did mean weeks. Thank you for pointing that out. Appreciate that. Okay, so some of the most common frequently asked questions. So how will I be notified if I'm selected? I just said you'll receive an email. When will I receive my payment? The processing times will vary, but we will do them in order that we receive them. But like I said, once you see payment in process, 4 to 7 weeks, yes. And so, as I said, you can check the status at the portal, or you can give us a call and we'll let you know. Questions, definitely just give our office a call. We have business cards for all of the program managers at the desk today. Is the application available in any other languages? Spanish, Haitian Creole? No, as far as the application portal, but we do provide technical assistance in those languages. So if you give us a call, we're able to communicate with anybody in those languages if needed. I'm not sure if I'm eligible, or I'm not sure if any expenses qualified. Give us a call, we'll give you a walkthrough. I'd highly encourage that, especially about your required documents. Don't want any heartburn about that. I want to make sure that everything is good. No employees, it's just me. So I'm a sole proprietor. I don't have these federal employee documents that you're talking about. Download that form, called the employment documentation waiver. Download that, sign that, and that'll be yours in lieu. Dates that we're launching, expected May 12th. So, stay on top of the ball, stay on top of the website, and if anything changes, we'll let you know, but May 12th is the date that we're gonna be launching. I'm missing one or more of my required documents. Am I still eligible? No, unfortunately, you do need everything in correct on the front end, but please reach out to us so that we can make sure that it is good to go in advance. I submitted my application, but was notified that my application was missing information. Am I able to revise my application and keep my place in the queue? Like I'm saying, no, unfortunately. We're gonna have to review the application based on the information in the application. Very high demand, very quick turnaround processing time. And so we just need everything correct on the front end. I don't have a receipt, invoice, or other proof of payment. Is that still eligible? No. All of your expenses in order to qualify need to have all the documentation that I went over. And last, if I receive the grant, will I receive a 1099? Unincorporated businesses, sole proprietors that receive the grant will receive a 1099-G. So again, plug for the website. All the details that I just went through here are available on the website. And we're also going to be having another in-person workshop just like this on April 9th here in the chambers at 2 o'clock as well. Okay. So enough details from me. Any questions from everyone? Yes, so thank you for your question. I'll ask everybody that when you have your question, please come up and go to the microphones just so that we can record your voice for the when we post this online. Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, my first, I have a couple. My first question is, where can you find the zone map for eligibility?
So your question is, where can we find the zone map for eligibility, meaning the commission districts map?
Correct.
Right?
That it was on the slide.
Right, we have that. We can put that on our website, right? How? Right, you're not gonna need to know your specific district on your own. The system will know where your district is. So if you need that information, we can provide you with a map, of course, but you won't need to know what district I'm in. You won't need to say, I'm in District 1, and so that's the line that I'm getting in. It'll know automatically.
Okay. If I own multiple businesses and they have the same address, am I able to apply for those?
Each business is eligible to apply.
As conferences or any educational fee qualify as a professional service?
Right. So your question is, does travel or like a training?
Just the conference.
A conference.
Conference.
Right.
Or educational course or anything like that, is that eligible expense?
So a conference is not an eligible expense like training, only if you were marketing. So if you had a table for the conference in which you're, yes, exactly.
Okay, and last question, I know you guys mentioned the 120 days. If I pay for the entire year for my insurance, my commercial insurance, would that be eligible, or is it still that window of?
Right. So you paid for it within the window, fine. The prepaid portion of it is not eligible, but so the 120-day portion of it would be eligible. You're welcome. Yes, ma'am.
Question, concerning my lease.
Okay.
Okay, it was the old owner and he sold it to the new. And we opt out to four. Well, under my lease, we opt out to four. So what I'm saying to where we pay 6 months. So, 6
Yes, okay. So it's kind of a long question, but so it's, you had to, basically, had a change in your lease terms,
Yes.
and so you want to know which you need to submit, your old versus your new lease?
Well, the old owner sold it to someone else.
Mm-hmm,
Okay, and we under the new owner, but we opt out, it's like one of these, like, we took option 4,
okay.
and we went to a 6 months,
Mm-hmm,
the new owner. So it's all one as far as payment.
got it. So you modify, so you have a modified term where you're paying your lease in 6-month portions. I think, so we'll review that question and get back to you with a confirmed answer. But definitely take my card, please, and we'll connect about that. And then we'll also post the response in an updated Q&A on our website that addresses that question. Okay, thank you. Yes, I'll go. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I started the process last year, and I was mentioned, and then this year, I was trying to change the number of employees,
Okay,
and it would not allow me to edit it. If I changed it, it would not allow it to, like go through.
right.
So how do I change the employees?
Your question was, how do we change the employee status? Last time when you went to apply last year, you weren't able to change it.
I'm not able to change it this year. So last year I had, when I started the process, I had more employees. This year I have less employees, so I'm trying to modify it. As I was going through the application,
Mhm.
system,
Right?
and it would allow, that's one of the things that wouldn't allow me to change.
Okay, so the first part of the answer is that one of the changes that we have in our application this year is that we don't require you to specify the number of employees. So we're simply asking, do you have 20 employees or less, period. So therefore, you shouldn't need to change it, you shouldn't need to enter any information about that, and then as long as your tax documents show that, less than 20 employees, then you'll be good. Okay? Yes, thank you. Yes, sir. Mhm. Is a website modification an eligible expense? Yes. Yes. Okay, I appreciate that feedback. Yeah, we'll clarify. But yes, that would be, business, marketing, professional services, general operational expenses, yes. But thank you for the question to clarify. Yes, sir? Right. Till funds are exhausted? Right? Yes. So it's going to be high demand and first come, first serve. So that's not to say, don't worry about it, you don't need to get it in. The applications are, especially from last year, very front loaded. The majority of applications come in the first couple days. So, but they'll be available, and then it'll be available by district too. So one district might exhaust all of their funds and another one may be available. So it's kind of a staggered timeline for when they may close. That's correct. Yes. When we mention commission districts, we're talking about the county commission districts, the 9 districts there. Yes, sir. Your question is that you operate a trucking company, and the business is registered at your home, but since it's a trucking company, you don't per se operate as a home-based business. The question is, do you have a Form 8829? Do you tell the IRS, I operate as a home-based business? No. So then no. Then you would, then that's, the location happens to be your home, but you're not a home-based business. Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Right. Great question. So you're saying, I don't have my Broward County business license tax receipt, but I have everything else that I need. And so do I have time to go and get my business tax receipt in advance of the application? And the answer is yes. You can contact our records, taxes, and treasury office. They'll walk you through getting your paperwork filed, making sure that you're in the system. And as long as you're in the system before we go live on that date, then you'll be good. Right. They're in the first floor in the annex. And this government center, but in the annex, the building next door. Yes, so to the ground. Yes, ma'am. On the first floor. Right. Welcome. Yes, ma'am. Yes, they're still going to be eligible. They need to be operating, so please let me clarify, operating in general for 2 years as a business, but they only need to have 1 year of the tax receipt. Correct. Currently, yes. Correct. So your question is home-based business, and then if you're to submit a mortgage, the mortgage doesn't say the business name. It would say your personal name, right? So your Form 8829 states the business name that's operating at that location with the address, which will then confirm with those pieces of info. Is certification, professional certification not eligible expense? So the key is, if it's vague, and I know, it's obviously open to interpretation, but if it's not explicitly listed on that eligible expenses, it's not going to be. Yes. Yes. Correct. Right. So if you buy something off of Amazon that's, a business item, then you'll submit your Amazon receipt, and then it'll have a card number, and one supporting document would be then your bank statement, your credit card statement that says this business name and this card number, and then that shows the purchase at that time. Yes. Same process. Yes, I mean, Alibaba still should provide you with the receipt, and then you would still confirm the payment with the bank statement. Okay, the question is, you want more details on funds exhausted and the expectations of that, right? So there are 13 grants available per district. And so for each district, once the 13 are gone, then it's over, right? Does that answer it? Okay. Yes, ma'am? Right.
Is it a one-time only that I cannot apply no more with the company for any other grants that's future?
You're asking about availability for future grants, or, qualifying for previous. I will say at this time, for this grant program, if you received it last year, you'll not be eligible this year. And then for future programs, as they come out, that guidance will be issued as well. You're welcome. Any other questions? All right, well, I will take this opportunity for a shameless plug that I hope every one of you already know about, the Broward Business and Beyond Conference, this year, May 9th, at the Convention Center. Please register. It's one of our premier events of the year. Every small business in the county really should be taking advantage of all that information that we share there. I see a snap. Please do. I think there's going to be a QR code coming. This is our link tree. So this is going to have all of our websites, socials, BAW, which is the Business Assistance Weekly, all kinds of registration links and so on. Alrighty, and so we have everybody's email here. We're going to follow up with you via email with more information on this, the slides, so on and so forth. But want to thank everybody for coming. Sir? This slide presentation? This is going to be available, the recording for this is going to be posted online, and then all these resources are available on our website as well. And so with that, I'll thank everybody for coming and look forward to seeing an application from all of you.